Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Jeff Davis. I am the guitarist and instructor at Davis Music Studios. This video is the second video in a series titled Back to Basics, where I will be teaching you how to choose strings for your guitar. Now, inevitably, I'll have students that will come into the lesson and they'll ask me this question: when do I change strings on my guitar? Well, there's a few things that you have to keep in mind about changing strings on your guitar. One of it has to do with, if you practice about 25 to 30 minutes a day, you're going to want to replace them about every 3 months. I would say at the bare minimum twice a year, but I recommend 4 times a year. If your strings start breaking, well then that's a pretty good sign they need to be replaced, because by the way, strings over time wear down. As you play them, you're going to get finger oils that are going to kind of get stuck in the grooves of the strings, and as you press down really hard on those strings, they're going to get grooves in them, and actually over time they just will not stay in tune, so it's best to just replace them. Now the first question you have to ask yourself when you're looking for strings and you're thinking about buying them: what type of guitar do I play? Now it seems like a simple question, but it's really important, because when you go to the music store, you're going to see that there's literally hundreds of different types of strings up there. Some of them would work really well on different guitars, but you want to ask yourself this question: what type of guitar do you play? If you play an acoustic guitar, you want to use an acoustic guitar string. If you play an electric guitar, you want to use an electric guitar string. If you play a classical guitar, you want to use a classical guitar string. Now I brought some examples with me today. This is the best example that I know of for an electric guitar string. It's a GHS Boomer string. Right? This string happens to be made out of a certain type of material that if you were to put these on an acoustic guitar, it just wouldn't sound as good. This is an electric string. This is my favorite acoustic guitar string. This is called a Martin Phosphor Bronze. And I don't even know if it's possible to put these on an electric guitar. I've never tried it. If you did, I can guarantee you it wouldn't sound good. These strings right here are classical guitar strings. These are different from the other two, by the way, in the materials they're made of. These strings are mostly nylon. It's a different material altogether. I'll be talking more about that later on when I deal with how to change strings on your guitar. So the next thing to talk about is the gauge or thickness of a string. Gauge does mean thickness, and it's a very important thing to think about. If you were to get a really super thick string, heavy gauge string, and put them on your electric guitar, your acoustic or your classical, one of the problems you're going to have is they're going to be really hard to press down. They're good if you like a certain type of sound, like if you play heavy rock, you're going to want a thicker string, because sometimes they tune their instruments down and they hit it really hard. So, if you're starting off, I recommend that you get, I have here a 10 gauge because I like those. I think what you should get is a 9 gauge if you're just starting off. Those are the best, and by the way, most guitars are meant for 9 gauge string. They're set up for 9 gauge string, so I recommend getting a 9 gauge string. That's just the thickness. If you were playing an acoustic guitar, if you need strings for your acoustic guitar, I recommend that you get a 10 gauge. Of course, I'm always doing something a little bit different when I grab strings, but this is an 11 gauge, but you would want to get a 10 gauge. If you're playing classical guitar, by the way, the gauges don't come in numbers. They're either labeled normal or heavy tension. I tend to like normal tension. These strings, by the way, are the D'Addario Pro Art. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about what strings to get for your guitar and what type goes with what type of instrument. Stay tuned next for the next video, where we'll be learning about how to put these strings on your guitar. Until then, if you'd like to learn more about what I do as an instructor, you can visit me on the web at www.learnguitar.7p.com, or you can email me at davisguitarstudio@gmail.com. Thanks and have a great day.